Ugh. I know this is really difficult to stream from this spot. Okay, so I guess we're just going to be talking, TikTok talking. So, what is going on, everybody? I'm your oh so glorious and beloved Mace Fowler. I did want to make a video about this, but with my timeline to finish my manuscript, in order to stick to that, I can't dedicate time to film and edit a proper video for you guys. So I have to do a live stream and keep this up, and hopefully as many people as possible can check it out. So, to make a long story short, well, it's not new. I guess it's been around for a while, but it's new to me, which probably means new to you. There's a new gig economy scam out there, or platform, if you will. And I want to talk a little bit about it, a little bit about how I got introduced to it, and then from there, I want to tell you about what happened this morning with it that is quite concerning, and also touch on Assembly Bill 5 in California and the importance of it, economy, and which platforms would be most affected by that changeover from independent contractor into employee status, and also how it could affect the market overall of not just the workers platforms are operating in the first place. So, buckle up. So basically, here's the deal. So there's this company called Jive. Now, what is Jive? Well, Jive deals with retailers and placement of packaging. So to kind of make sense of what that is, if I'm a Jiver, correct? They're still trying to call me, which is kind of screwing things up. They're gonna not stop calling me. Anyway, that's Jive too. So long story short, what the deal is with these guys is they work with like retail spaces like grocery stores and some big box retailers as well. But and basically when they have a client, let's say Frito-Lay or Coca-Cola or what have you, that they have packaging of products that come into the stores. Well, a Jiver, they're able to pick within 2 days in advance on their schedule. They pick a place and time, and they go on a Jive, which means that they go into the back warehouse and they slice everything open, and they package everything up on the shelves, or they could do some sort of quality control, like you're there for 15 to 30 minutes. You go and you take pictures, you make sure things are stocked properly. It's these kind of like things on the behalf of the client, which would be the company that owns the product that is, essentially distributing it out for sale. They go and they ensure that it's either placed in the right spot or that there's some sort of quality control as to how to begin with, and to make sure that their inventory is correct. Given said that, it does seem like a very flexible thing. It does seem like a very gig economy type thing to kind of have out there. There's a lot of weird things that are like that normal people just day to day wouldn't think of, but on these platforms, like the prime example of what the gig economy is all about. It's getting labor that's relatively flexible with scheduling to be able to come out and do these tasks, so that you're not afforded the overhead of putting this onto your full-time employees. I'm gonna order Starbucks in just a second. Trying to not do rock stars today. I think it might be a bit much. So anyway, so that's basically the long and the short about what Jive is about. Their pay is a flat rate as well. There's no way to negotiate what you get paid for any job. It's all based upon like certain bids by clients and whatnot. Given said all of that jazz, moving forward, I was up in Washington, as you guys know, recently, and there wasn't a whole lot of TaskRabbit work, and it was really kind of disconcerting to be able to stay on the platform that I love so much. And it got to the point where I was like, well, let me see what else is out.
Hi, welcome to Starbucks. We're getting started for you.
Yeah, can I have a large mocha frap with whip, and that'll be it?
All right, 568.
So, uh, so I was looking around and on Facebook of all places because the things I talk about, the things that I follow, see this advertisement for working with Jive, and I look into it because I'm like, oh, what's this gig economy thing I've never heard of? So I look into it and I find out all that information, and I'm like, well, it doesn't pay a whole lot, but it is better than nothing. So let me try and check this out. And this is where the red flags started coming up. During the orientation process, as it were, there's no background check or anything like that from what I remember. But you kind of do this quiz, you follow suit of what is expected of you and this, that, and the other. And a couple of things that kind of pointed out to me, so it's flat rate, which, it's kind of hit or miss, but very prevalent within the gig economy. There's a lot of companies out there that they do their pays based on a fixed amount with no room for negotiation. Which kind of goes against, that goes back in Article AB5, or that goes back into AB5 out in California about this whole changeover, because part of the ABC process of dictating if someone's an employee or if someone's an independent contractor, part of that classification is, can the person negotiate their rates? If so, then you have an independent contractor, And that's not like going to your boss saying, hey, I want a raise. No, what that means, it's like, I will work for you doing this contracted task, this contracted job for X amount of dollars flat rate or X amount of dollars per hour, and so that's just kind of the nature of it. So it's just something to keep in mind. The other thing that I thought that was disconcerting is when you're a part of the gig economy as an independent contractor, when you yourself are an independent contractor, yeah, sure, you might be doing a job that might be representative of a company, but in reality, you're an independent contractor. You're a third-party help. And one thing about Jive that really kind of irked me, like as soon as I was going through the process, now they do have their own Jive polo or whatever that you can order, but you're not required to wear that. But they do have a strict dress code. You're not allowed to wear headphones during your job, like things like that. These are things that, yeah, for a normal employee, these are great things to adhere to. But at the end of the day, when you're an independent contractor, none of these things matter. You don't have to follow suit with the dress code because you're not beholden to the same rules as an employee would. Hello. Thank you. Nah. Appreciate that. Have a good one. All right. So, like I said, it's not the biggest deal in the world, but when it comes to classifying someone as an independent contractor or someone as an employee, this is a very, very telltale sign of if you're one or the other, and that's usually if the whole Harry Potter meme, giving Dobby clothes, Dobby, whatever his name was, giving him clothes. Forcing someone to adhere to a dress code, you are then kind of dictating the scope of their work. That's another big indicator of whether or not you're an independent contractor. So when there's contract work, when it comes to an employee, when the person that is essentially hiring you for the job has more control over the scope of the job and how it will be completed, that follows suit as an employee status as opposed to independent contractor. Remember, these are things that, yeah, they might seem somewhat flexible or whatever to deal with, and it may not seem that big of a deal, but at the end of the day, it truly, truly is because of how the wording of the classification, these things matter. The way that the things are worded kind of, it affects everything that we do with any gig economy platform that we're going to be working on or any job that we actually go to. Let me get a sip. Jesus Christ. Some people, man. Just waiting to turn. Like, this is one of the hardest roads to turn left on. I think the longest I've ever waited on this spot was like 15 minutes. I'm not even lying. Because just the way that all the traffic goes back and forth, it's so hard to turn left right here. And I don't know what's going on, man. Wow, I don't know if you guys can hear the honking. There's just traffic is just being stupid today. Another hard part is that the way that the road is right here, if someone's trying to make a right, it's easy to make a right, but you can't see the oncoming traffic, so it's really hard to like, prime example like that. Like, I couldn't see that there was traffic not there, but then once they moved, I saw all the traffic coming through. It's like, well, I could have gone left, but unfortunately now I can't. So that really, wow, I'm sorry, this is just so rough. This is one of the hardest. Yeah, so by the time, because by the time that clears up, then these guys are going to be, like, that's so rough. It's going to U-turn it. Even though I do need to go down that road. Going down here, I'll probably lose signal, but I guess I can go the long way. Where was I? So that's one thing about Jive that kind of was like, all right, whatever, right? But then kind of going through, this was weeks ago. It's like, all right, well, in order for you to get on board with Jive, you need to do a Jive along. We're going to hook you up with one of our gurus, and you're going to go to a location, and they're going to school you on how to do the job. And here's the key part. What's up, dude? In the orientation for Jive, it tells you that, oh, you'll be working, you'll do your Jive along, which will pay X amount of dollars per hour or whatever. And it's like, oh, sweet. So I'll get paid for essentially like on-the-job training, right? That's another one, too. In the literature, they classify the Jive along as training. When you're an independent contractor, you cannot be offered training. That's part of the class. That's a big one. An employer gives an employee there's orientation for the platform, which is fine, but the training aspect of it, that's meant for an employee. Hey, welcome to the job. Let's train you on how to do this job. Independent contractor, no. If you're an independent contractor, you're not going to be trained. You should already know how to do it. They can give you guidelines and practices and tips and advice, but they cannot give you any sense of formal training, because the moment they give you training, that's when they hand you the keys to the kingdom and you become an employee. So when it comes to AB5 becoming in effect, as I'm learning more about it and understanding, like, well, I already know how these independent contractor companies work, these the gig economy platforms. So based upon what I know about the gig economy and the platforms, and based upon what I'm learning about Article 5 and what it truly means to be an employee versus an independent contractor, TaskRabbit's on the cusp, because they do try to have a lot of control over scope when it comes to the IKEA jobs. They don't give you a whole lot of leeway. They kind of like have it ironclad right there. But that's just kind of the nature of the beast, because the most part of the TaskRabbit kind of fits more so into independent contractor. It's still a little fuzzy. I gotta dig more into it and kind of get a better assessment on things as far as AB5 is concerned. Anyway, so going back, one of the big things about Jive that really kind of was weird is this was weeks ago, and part of doing the Jive along with your Jive guru, a veteran that's been doing Jive for quite a while, they can school you on how to do the job properly. Part of getting in line with that was I couldn't find any dates. So for this general market for Jive and a lot of the clients that they have, the Scottsdale, that was the closest Jive along that I could get to. So I kind of waited, and they sent me texts like, hey, you haven't scheduled a Jive along yet. Like, what's up with that? And I'm like, I'm in Las Vegas. I'm not driving all the way to Scottsdale for, to do a Jive along. It's just not worth it. It's like, oh, just check back in a couple days. It should be up there. I checked back for this Thursday, which is actually right now today, at 9 a.m., and it was to last from 9 until 1 p.m. $15 an hour. You're supposed to walk out of there with $60. That's not too bad. I mean, it's a pittance in comparison to what I make on TaskRabbit, but sometimes something is literally better than nothing. So I'm like, yeah, okay, let me do this, right? I get text of the information and this, that, and the other. And so this morning finally comes, and it wasn't that I necessarily forgot. It was that I just like changed my mind. Because work with TaskRabbit this last week kicked up so much. Now I'm the kind of guy where it's like, hey man, you want to keep your hands in as many places as possible. You want to, you want to kind of do as much as possible, have your foot in every foothold that you can find. You want to be able to maximize your revenue. Well, the best way to maximize your revenue is to not put all your eggs in one basket. You want to diversify your income, yada, yada, yada. So normally this is something I would have just ran with, but I've been so busy with TaskRabbit lately, and I've been so busy with the book coming out. I'm like, you know what? Let me just focus on TaskRabbit. I got job after job after job. Like I'm booked solid for like the next 7 days. And it's great. It feels great to be that busy. Kind of sucks at the same time because you are that busy, and I got a damn book to finish writing. But it is what it is. So anyway, so I blew it off. I'm not going to this stupid Jive thing. Whatever. I didn't bother rescheduling or anything, right? And then I get an email. Remember, I was supposed to be there at 9. And this is where the story gets interesting. This is the part where I say, don't do Jive, walk away from it. I mean, yeah, it might be it is a source of income, but based upon my conversation and how this company operates, I want nothing to do with them, and I would implore you guys to not have anything to do with them either. So basically, here's what happened. Here's the deal. I got an email saying that because I never showed up for my Jive along, my application to be on Jive has been rejected. Now here's the thing, you have to go to this Jive along, do this process, and you don't even have access to the app. So you're not even fully enrolled yet, and having you go and work. That's the sketchiest part. Now, during the orientation, it specifically told you that you would get paid for the Jive along. That's what the orientation said, that you will get paid for the Jive along. So I already know, hey, I'm not doing this stupid Jive thing. I'm not going to this Jive along. So I was like, you know what, screw it. Let me just bounce and do my own thing today. So I got that email, and I was like, you know what, let me call these guys. I want to screw with them a little bit. And so I called, got a hold of their customer service, which I was surprised by, because you really can't get a hold of customer service with TaskRabbit at the moment. But so I call, and I was like, hey, yeah, I got an email saying that, I should leave, that I shouldn't be here. I got to the front and met whoever Jimmy was. He brought me to the back. I've been working, but my guru never showed up. And he kind of told me what I should do. So I've kind of been doing that. So I don't really know what I'm supposed to do, because now it told me that I'm rejected. I don't even have access to the app. Like what's the point? And he's like, oh, that's weird. Let me look into it. And he's like, he has no idea. He doesn't ask for my information. He doesn't this, that, and the other. So he doesn't pull up any information that would state that the other person did in fact show up, and that I, of course, did not. So he was just taking my word at face value for everything. And he's like, oh, let me see what I can do to help you. No. And then finally he said something, and I was like, well, should I just leave? Because I don't want to be here for 4 hours and not get paid, because I'm not even in the city. And that's when he said, well, you won't get paid anyway. We don't pay out on drive longs. And I was like, hold on. So you're gonna have people come and do 4 hours worth of labor, and you're not gonna pay them anything? It's like, well, no, we belongs. It's like, but it's training. It says in the thing, it's training. Hey, what's going? Are you guys still doing breakfast?
Yes, we are.
All right, cool. Could I get? I need 2 sausage McMuffins with cheese, but no eggs.
Okay.
And can I get that with a large Diet Coke and 2 hash browns?
Okay. Anything else?
That should be it.
You're gonna be 7 then.
All right. Sorry about that. Getting breakfast for the missus. Or as everyone on here calls her, because we're not married. Anyway, so the whole thing, it really got my gears spinning, man. It's like, hold on, let me pay. This is just... Ever heard of Jive? Let me know. Thank you. Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure I am. Yep. Sorry, I don't know what's taking them so long. So there we go. Can I get some syrup? Syrup? Yeah, and it's buffering because a lot of different reasons. Thank you. Ooh, score. It went right in there. Okay. So, jive. So I'm on the phone with this customer service rep, and he like starts laughing, and I'm like, wait, what? So you're telling me that 4 hours worth of labor, and you're not going to pay the person that comes out? And he's like, well, it's, you know, it's training. And I'm like, yeah, but every job that offers training, it's paid. And he's like, well, this isn't necessarily typical training. This is just to see if you can meet the cut so that you can be allowed to work with Jive. And I'm like, really? Okay. And I said to him, do you have any idea how illegal that is? Do you have any idea how many labor laws you just like that breaks? And he laughed at me, and then he hung up. He said, no, it's not illegal. I'm like, yeah, dude, that's illegal as... That's very sketchy. That's extremely sketchy. Very illegal. Oh, we're going to bring you on, make you work for 4 hours, not pay you anything, even have you on the books. That's the other thing, too, is that they bring you in for this 4-hour training. They make sure that you're not even on the app yet. It's ridiculous. So that's the newest. 85 Jivers, I would say, damn, very clear cut. Very clear cut from the controllers are going to be paid, flat rate or hourly. No way to change those amounts. What the individual feels like they're worth, based upon the fact that there's a dress code, which when you're an independent contractor, yeah, you should probably show up to a job dressed somewhat decently for the job, but at the same time, though, you can't force a dress code on someone that's not your employee. Labor dispute coming soon. Interesting. Just reading that sign. Out there for y'all, because I just think it's ridiculous. I say a lot of good things, I say a lot of bad things about TaskRabbit, right? And kind of you get the pros and cons with all platforms, but the reason why I always praise TaskRabbit is because at least it follows suit with what being an independent contractor is all about. They have a lot of room for improvement. Do not get me wrong. There is a ton of space where TaskRabbit could be doing a much, much better job than they currently are. But we'll get there. We'll get there. The number one thing with TaskRabbit is because they obviously want to keep their clients happy, this, that, and the other. Their consumer base. They're obviously going to choose them over the professional every time. And that's kind of like where I've always been. Like, it doesn't make sense. You know, you might have that customer that comes on TaskRabbit one time, bitches and complains, and so they take the customer's side, and that person never uses TaskRabbit again. But then you've jeopardized the contractor that you have. When the contractor tries to dispute whatever the issue is, and they're told, nah, you can't dispute it. You know, it's things like that that are really irritating on TaskRabbit, because they always choose the customer over us. They don't even, you know, there's no support staff. It's one thing if they at least had a way for us to reach out and try to discuss these things, but, you know, that's kind of the nature of being an independent contractor. You're kind of at the will of whatever platform you're utilizing. Anyway, I just wanted to drop those nuggets for you guys. So for those of you watching in the future, like, comment, subscribe, you know, bring the little something down below. Let me know you love me. As always, I'm your oh so glorious and beloved Mace Valor, signing off.